This absorbable device is designed to be implanted into a surgical site and to infuse a therapeutic fluid for some duration. This is dependent upon the pump size and the necessary therapy duration. It's comprised of a very fine suture-like tube that carries the fluid. The tube is a soaker device, and it delivers droplets of fluid along its length. It's also attached to a suture needle designed to ease implantation. The device comes in multiple soaker lengths and has a purple demarcation line to indicate the start of the soaker region at the proximal end. The fine, uniform holes in the soaker region allow for even distribution of fluid. It is bioabsorbable and very fine in diameter, much finer than what you typically find on the market. It's also stronger and more flexible when compared to its competitors. Technique number 1 demonstrates using a single device to deliver therapy at the incision site. Because of the unique design, handling the device is easy and intuitive. The suture needle allows for precise placement and stays in place exactly where you want it. You can take the suture needle, implanted in the wound, from the inside of the wound out through the skin. You can also take multiple bites along the incision for additional security. To ensure the soaker region is implanted in the incision site, use the purple demarcation line as a guide to show you the start of the soaker region. Once the soaker region is in place, the proximal end of the catheter is placed through the skin. Once out through the skin, simply trim off the suture needle, leaving an exposed tube. The tube is then connected to a syringe to prime the line prior to attaching it to an infusion pump that infuses fluid directly to the surgical site. During priming, you can see the even distribution of fluid across the surgical incision. Technique number 2 demonstrates the bifurcated option for this device, targeting therapeutic delivery to different layers in the tissue. The first device can be implanted in the deep fascial layer of the tissue by taking multiple bites along the tissue plane, starting inside the wound and out through the skin. Once it's properly implanted, simply trip off the suture needle, leaving an exposed tube, and attach to a syringe to prime the line. Next, you can close the tissue layer by suturing with a suture-like stratafix. Once that's complete, you can implant the second device in the subfascial tissue layer using the same technique you used for the first implantation. Once you're through the skin, trim off the needle and attach to a syringe to prime the line. Both devices can then be attached to a single pump that would provide a continuous infusion of therapy. Upon completion of therapy, the patient can simply pull out the device as shown here. Alternatively, because of its bioabsorbability, the device can be left in the patient by depressing the skin and trimming the device. It will then absorb within 120 days. Potential applications could include local anesthetics to avoid opioid-based pain management, as well as antibiotics or antimicrobials to help combat infection, and chemotherapy delivered directly to the tumor site.